Hey everyone, this is Sanjay, your host, and welcome to my channel. As I promised, we are going to make this sort of crazy astronauts animation. So to do that, actually we need to create these scenes first in Adobe Illustrator, and just we need to move to Adobe After Effects in order to animate it. So because this tutorial is going to be long, I have decided to separate it in two different episodes. In these episodes, we're going to make the scenes from the scratch and then move to After Effects. And in the first step, we're going to colorize it. And in the next step, we're going to have some sort of animation to our characters. In the next episode, we are going to add some extra animations and objects. And at the end, we are going to add some effects, grains, textures, and so on and so forth. So if you didn't subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel because I don't want to miss the next video as well. So keep us watching till the end of this process. Let's get started. So here in Adobe Illustrator, I start creating our scenes with creating background. I'm going to change the color of the background to black and just forget about this trick, and then I'm going to lock because I don't want to have any sort of movement by accident. Then let's create our character, our crazy astronauts. I'm going to change the color of this ellipse to white, and then I'm going to create a rectangle just like this, and I'm going to change the position of this side and just match with the edge of the circle. And then I'm going to choose these two and just unite them as one shape, and I'm going to make a sort of leg for it. And then when I create another rectangle just like this, I'm going to minus front in order to just remove this part, and this two is going to be the legs of the astronaut. Then I'm going to make it a little bit roundish at the corner. Then I'm going to create a sort of face for our astronauts, and then make it a little bit roundish and change the color to some grayscale. And I'm going to choose all the shapes and use shape builder tool in order to remove this part. I'm holding Alt and just click, and this part of the new rectangle is going to be removed. And then I'm going to make a sort of another rectangle, and I'm going to color it as black. And then with the same process, I'm going to use all of this again, shape builder tool, hold Alt and delete this part. So one thing more, I'm going to create another rectangle, and I'm going to make it as some sort of white, and bring it down
not very down under the background, just behind the body of the uh, astronauts. And then uh, the structure, the main structure of our astronauts is done. Let's create the hand and also a knife. So in order to create the knife, I'm going to use the pen tool. So I want to do that a little bit fast in order to make the video short. So actually you can uh, take all the time you need in order to be more precise creating these sharp edges of the knife. And then I'm going to use rectangle tool in order to make a sort of edge for this part of our knife. And also I'm going to use pen tool again in order to make sort of sticker for our dagger. In order to do it, I'm going to just make a sort of shape just like this. Yeah, some sort of this. And then when we're done, we can actually use as sort of fingers. I'm going to change the color of it in order to make it a little bit distinguished from other parts of the dagger and hand. And then choose these two, and I'm going to make a grip and then reposition it in a place that just fits with the hands and the dagger. Also, I want to change the color of the hand to some sort of graying, just like this. And when it's done, let's make our planet something like this. I'm going to color it as white and reposition it near to the center. And one thing we can do, actually, we can choose the all layers refers to our character, and just rotate it, and then put it on the top of our plant. So once it's done, you can choose all of them and change the scale and reposition it. So in order to colorize it, we can actually do it in After Effects. So that place is much better for color it. So when the old things, the other things that refer to our scenes, which is the wavy effects, all will be created in After Effects. So up to now we're done in Adobe Illustrator. When you are done, you can just save the scenes that you just create. I'm going to call it as Crazy Astronaut number 2 because I've already made one. Then just save it, and after that we can shift to Adobe After Effects in order to animate our scene. So I will see you there. So here in Adobe After Effects, I'm going to bring up my Illustrator file, and I'm going to set as composition retain layer sizes, and then hit import in order to import the Illustrator file. Then as you can see, it makes composition, and here in our composition we have separated layers, which is this one is actually the background, so I'm calling it as BG. Then we have the back or the oxygen capsule of our crazy astronauts, so I'm going to call it cap. And for this one is the astronauts. A stands for astronauts. The second one is the second layer is actually the hand and knife, which is, I'm going to call it as hand plus knife. And the last one is my planet. So in order to make it colorize it, in the first step we need to colorize our scene. So I'm going to start with planet. I just want to create shapes out of it, so I don't need this anymore. Then I'm going to add inner shadow. In the inner shadow I'm going to change the angle of the inner shadow. Then I'm going to make sort of distance, and then choke it a little bit, and size is cool right now, and add some noise effects in order to make this sort of noisy effect. So also I can change the amount of noisiness here, something like this. So when you're satisfied with the result, yeah, I guess this is okay. Distance a little bit too much, so I'm going to make it about 90% opacity of the inner shadow. Then in the next step I'm going to add a sort of yeah, I'm going to create the shape out of this layer, and I'm going to delete this one because I don't need this anymore. And the same will happen to this layer. I'm just want to copy the layer styles and just paste it to this, and then we need to go to the properties of inner shadows and change the layer style. I'm going to change it a little bit just like this, and choke it a little bit less. Size is cool, and the noise effects about 9 is enough for now. And also I'm going to copy this layer style and just paste it to oxygen capsule. And again, we need to change the settings related to this capsule. I'm going to change it something like this. Distance is good. The amount of choke back to 0. Yeah, let's change it to something like this, and then just know. Yeah, must be cool. And this size, actually, the amount of choke is okay, and the amount of size is different. So we have this sort of noise effects on this. Oh, so sorry. Then the next step, we're going to do the same for the hand and knife. So just copy and paste it, and let's open up the settings for the layer style. I'm going to make the distance as less as possible, also the amount of choke, and also we need to change the direction and also the size. Yeah, this is much better. So size is cool, amount of choke is about to 5. Also the distance is good, and it seems okay for me right now. Yeah, everything is cool. Next things, we need to duplicate. Let me change the name of this layer to planet solve. Let's duplicate it, and then let's call it planet shine. In shining effects, I'm going to set it as add, and let's scale it up to around 200, and let's get rid of the layer style because I don't need anymore, and let's add some effects to it. Let's add some Gaussian blur. I'm going to set the amount of blurriness to around 200, and then yes, let's bring down the opacity about to 45. Yeah, so it looks cool right now. The next things that we need to add is actually the tilts, in order to demonstrate the movement of the astronauts and also this planet. To do that, I'm going to select my pen tool. I don't need fill for now. Stroke. I'm going to change the color to some sort of black. But let's change it to somehow white for now, for some reasons, and then just make sure that you don't select any layer at your timeline. Then create your line. Let's call it trail, and also let's change the color to yellow in order to separate it from others. And then for this one, I'm going to change the amount of width way too much, something like this. And then let's go to the properties belongs to the stroke. Let's change the taper, especially the start length, to 100 in order to make it very tiny and sharp at this end. And then in the wave, I'm going to set the amount to 45, I guess is enough. And let's add an description to face, and description is time minus 100. So by now we can see this amount of wave effects. On one thing more, we need to go to wave and change the wave length to somehow 200, I guess is enough. The first thing is done here. Also let's change the color of this trail to some sort of black and white, the same as other layers. To do that, we need to add a gradient ramp, and here at the starting point I'm going to position it right here, and for the end at the end. And it's good. I can make it a little bit whiter and at this part, and then we can add also layer styles, which is the inner shadow again. So let's change the settings related to inner shadow. I'm going to change the angle, something like this, and also I'm going to change the distance to 0, choke it a little bit less, size and noise is good. I am satisfied with the result that I did for this. Also, I'm going to add another trail. Be careful to choose the stroke at the same position of the starting point of this trail. I'm going to call it as trail number 2. Let's change the color to yellow as well, and then I'm going to increase the amount of width way larger. Then for this one I'm going to add wave warp. So let's change somehow to 100, also change it to around 100 as well. Let's choose the all edges for pinning, and also I'm going to change the direction, something like this. Also, one thing to change is about the settings related to taper. We need to make it as short as possible at the starting point. So I'm going to change it something like this. If you are not satisfied, you can increase the amount of strokes to somehow bigger. And also when you're satisfied with this, you can add the gradient ramps that you just create for the first trail and just copy to the second one. Let's change the color, just bring it down, and also you can just copy and paste the layer style, which is the inner shadow, from the first trail to the second one. It looks good. Also, we need to change the gradient ramp position somehow at the end to make it a little bit wider. Or let's, yeah, it's much more better right now. Then one thing to mention is that we need to parent the path of the second layer, of the second trail to the first one. I will tell the reasons that I'm going to do this, and so when we create these two, then we need to add some movement to our these astronauts plants, and also the waves that I just created. In order to do that, I'm going to use the create nodes from path. If you don't have it in your After Effects, you can simply just go to window and just choose this create nodes from path. So at this point, I'm going to choose the path and create nulls from points. So the After Effects actually created two nulls. The first one, which is in this place, and the second one, which is this one at this place. So I don't need this one. I'm just going to delete that. And after that, we can yes, we can parent all the layers to the trace path, and in this position I'm going to animate the path. So let's decrease the area of our timeline to 5 seconds. I'm just going to come to this amount of work area. Let's add a keyframe at 0 frame, and in 1 second and 15 frames I'm going to make another keyframe, and at 3 seconds and 10 frames I'm going to add another keyframes, and I'm going to copy the first keyframe to the very last frame of our composition in order to make a sort of loop animation. So I'm just going to reposition to this amount, and here I'm going to change it to somehow this position, and then this position. So let's check it out once. We need to choose this one. So yeah, when you're satisfied, you can choose all the keyframes belongs to the path. Just hit F9 in order to make this keyframe easy ease, and this is going to be the animation of our astronauts. One thing to mention is that we need to bring down these two layers behind all things, and yeah, seems much more better.